I had the flu A to be specific, for a week. The 1 week I had off work, I had the flu and I was dead, completely dead. I did not get up from the couch. I did not eat except for popsicles. I didn't read. I didn't watch anything. I just died. So I'm still in my recovery phase. So I have to drink tea so I don't actually die. But I am back now and trying to get my shit together. But today, in an effort to get my shit together, I figured I would talk about ways that you can read more. And my certifications are, sorry, not certifications, my qualifications are that I work 10-hour shifts. I also work a part time job on the weekend. I also work an hour from work, honestly, more like an hour and a half when you consider traffic. So yeah, I have zero extra time. And like this doesn't even include like cleaning, cooking, whatever errands as adulting stuff goes. So I'm always like, I like to read and I want to read more. It's not like it's a chore to try to figure out how to read more, but I'm always trying to find ways to read more and expose myself more to different types of books. So I have a couple of tips and tricks for anyone who maybe has a similar schedule or is just really busy and doesn't know how to find the time. So, the first thing that I was going to talk about is which Libby, which is a free app that lets you borrow audiobooks, ebooks, and magazines for whoever reads magazines still. So I use Libby primarily for audiobooks. And let me like caveat this by I used to hate audiobooks. I used to think like they were so cringy. I used to hate the voices that I would listen to or think they're really boring. But honestly, just like with reading, or like if someone that doesn't read is starting to get into reading and they think all books are boring, it's kind of like the same thing with audiobooks. You just have to find the audiobooks that have voices of people or like voice actors that you can kind of tolerate or enjoy listening to. This is so random, and I'm sure hopefully somebody else can relate with me, but something really like scratches the itch with an audiobook that is in a British accent or something of that sort. I just don't even know why, but they're so much more enjoyable. So I've spent a lot of time trying to find audiobooks that are kind of set up like that, and I've gotten lucky to find a few. Um, but anyways, I always try to listen to audiobooks on like my commute, like when I'm driving, especially because otherwise, like I'm just listening to music, or I try to listen to podcasts and I don't, excuse me. I don't know if it's just me, maybe because it's super early in the morning because I go to work at like five something, or well, I leave my house at like 4 a.m. So I need something that's enjoyable and fun. And sometimes podcasts can like really be boring and make me fall asleep on my drive into work. So I listen to audiobooks when I'm driving to work. They're also really great to listen to when you're cleaning or just doing errands around the house. I know that whenever I'm cleaning or like folding laundry or just like doing stuff in the house, I'll listen to audiobooks. When I go grocery shopping, I have my audiobooks playing. I just like keep my headphones in. For anyone that this works for, it does not work for me, and I've tried. If you're like at the gym and you don't like listening to music, that's also a great time to listen to audiobooks. So Libby is just a great resource. It's free. It helps you support your local libraries. And a little tip with Libby is, let's say you're trying to rent or like borrow a book, like an ebook or an audiobook from them, and it's out of stock, or like you have to wait in a long line at your library. You can always get another library card for a different one and see if it's available there. So you can kind of log into multiple different libraries and see if that works for you to find what you want to read. So that is my first one, is Libby. For my second one, it's still kind of Libby, depending on where you get your books from. But my second tip is to always have an ebook available on your phone. I don't know how many times that I've had like downtime at work or gone to the lunch break and I just sit there and like scroll on my phone. I am like a victim of my phone controlling my brain. I will sit there and scroll on TikTok for God knows how long and just lose my mind in it. And I just can't exit it. I don't know why. I just like once I get started, I cannot exit. So I put a like time limit on my phone for TikTok. That's just for me because I have an addiction that I need to control. So I'll put a phone limit, like a time limit on TikTok on my phone. Usually I do like an hour a day. Do I ignore the 15 minutes or whatever, like use it for an extra 15? Yes, I do. But it still helps. Okay. It still helps because before I would go hours and hours and hours. So I'll always have like an ebook on my phone so I can read in between like stuff at work if I have downtime or if like I'm on lunch and I have downtime then. And honestly, my sister commutes to work and takes public transport, and for her, ebooks have changed the game. She has a Kindle, but you know, whatever you have, you can read on. Whenever you're in public transportation, it's much more enjoyable rather than sitting and listening to the people around you. So that's number two, is always have an ebook on your phone. The third thing is making reading your default. So for me, right, because I want to read more and that's something I enjoy, I try to make it the default thing that I do whenever I have downtime at home. So whenever I get home, like if I need to like eat, shower, whatever, do all that stuff, rather than spending whatever little time I have scrolling on my phone or doomsday scrolling or anything like that, I always make time to just sit down and read. And this kind of goes into my next point too, is also making a reading goal. Because if you make reading your default and you make yourself a reading goal, like I want to read 15 minutes every night or like 30 minutes every night or whatever, then you're going to be much more likely to try to stick to those goals and read as much as you can. Personally, when I get home from work, I am dead to the world. So, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me just. Okay. So, when I get home, I am dead to the world. I always joke, like with my husband and stuff, that when I get home, I am dead to the world. If I shower, that's it. I'm going to be asleep in 15 minutes, no matter what I do. So when I get home, I try to like cook or whatever, sit down. And when like I sit down to eat something, I always try to read during that time, whether it be for just like the duration of when I'm eating, or if I'm just like trying to like digest, I'll like sit down and read my book. But I just really make it a priority to do that rather than sit on my phone, and I'll kind of just put my phone away to charge or something because I have no self control. And if my phone is right next to me, I'll be texting people, I'll be on TikTok, I'll be on YouTube, like watching YouTube videos or YouTube shorts. So I have no self control. So I have to keep my phone away from me. And I'll like set my alarms for work and all of that stuff so I don't forget about it and just put it away. But that is kind of my third and fourth tip. For my fifth tip, I really enjoy and like what I've been doing is a subscription service. So for me, I do Book of the Month. It's affordable. It's really fun to see all the new books they pick out every month. And it's also not overwhelming, right? I feel like when I go to any like bookstores and stuff, when I do have time, it can be really overwhelming to just look at how many books there are and try to figure out what I want to buy. Obviously, I have a list of like things I want to buy, as I'm sure everyone does. But when I go with that list, I obviously can't walk out of there with 20 books, or at least I can't walk out of there with 20 books. So it really helps to use Book of the Month because it's a service that you pay a monthly fee for, and you can skip any month that you don't like any of their books, but they'll pick out as a team. I think it's five, don't quote me, maybe four, but I'm pretty sure it's five new releases that they have read and enjoyed and vetted and whatnot. So it's just really interesting because you get to see books recommended by other people, and it's of all kinds of genres. There's fantasy, like literary fiction, thriller, sometimes horror, like nonfiction memoirs, and they also have audiobooks on there too. So it's been a really cool service for me because it also introduces me into different types of books that I may not have otherwise wanted to read. And they're all hardcover, which makes it so much nicer. And they're kind of the Book of the Month edition. If you've ever seen Book of the Month or their logo, and I'll have it on the screen, but their logo is very distinct and their books are all designed the same way. There'll be different colors, but I'll have their logo on the spine. So it's just nice, it keeps things interesting. It keeps me excited, it keeps me looking forward to something, and honestly excited still about reading. I think sometimes, like there's so many new releases and especially big ones on TikTok that people rave and rave about. And definitely gotten books off the TikTok hype that I have regretted. And now I do not trust people on TikTok. So it's always really confusing on like trying to figure out like, ugh, like what should I buy versus what should I try to listen to an audiobook via Libby or read like an ebook. Because I personally try to buy books that I only enjoy, or that are gifted to me and stuff like that. So it just helps kind of filter out some of the noise. And usually I really enjoy the book of the month picks. Every now and then I'll skip one. But another fun feature before I forget is that for your birthday, they'll also give you like free credits, I think, or maybe it's a free book. I don't even remember. But my birthday just passed in December and I remember getting something free, which is really nice, right? Like it's a nice subscription service that is not too expensive. I think it's like $15.99, and you can earn credits even when you skip sometimes, depending on like the circumstance. And I remember even one time they had sent a book late or like it was delayed or something. So I got a free credit for their mistake. So it's also really nice that it's a company that cares about its customers and wants you to see that if they make a mistake, they want to pay it forward. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just a really cool opportunity, to get exposed to new books. And there's so many out there that you can look into. I mean, there's Fairy Loot, um, there's Illumina Crate. I feel like some days I just like can't even speak English, but something like that, and like LitJoy and all that. And I think those are a little bit more expensive, mostly because they have really unique fan art. But even something like that, if you can afford it, or if it's something that interests you, like in their types of art pieces that they have, that's also a really cool thing to keep you consistent and not make you feel like when you get super busy and super behind that you still have to find time to go find new books. But yeah, those are some tips that I have to at least keep you on track with your reading goals, especially coming into the new year. So I hope that was helpful. But this was just a quick, short video to go over that couple of stuff. I know it's something that would have been really helpful for me considering I have a really busy job. So hopefully it can be helpful for you guys. But thanks for hanging out with me today and have a good day.